Hello and welcome. Oh, great timing on the music. Hello and welcome to the 56th episode of Assault Plays Sunless Sea. I'm not going to read off everything that I have to do right now. I'm in Visage. If I remember correctly, I might spend a huge chunk of the episode in Visage. I'm hoping to do the rat bastard thing and interrupt the religious ceremony with a flare. So here we go. Visage, hide your face. Hide all your faces. This is the port of Visage, where faces may not be naked, except one, a stone monument the size of a village church, serenely gazing upwards. Flourishing of years. I'm gonna start by creating a port report and then continue. That will have to do. A departing merchant gives you a confused account of crocodiles and honeycakes and something about ear blockage. To this, you add your own impressions about the street layout close to port and the types of commerce here. When the lights are especially bright, it is possible to make out the details of the profile of the great stone face. Alright, go ashore, inward and upward. Once you set foot on Visage, you may be here for a little while. Terms. All those who enter must play their parts. The sign is visible only after you've crossed the threshold. Ashore in Visage. On the lower slopes, stone buildings, flat roofs, archways. In the architecture there lingers a memory of lotus and palm frond. The hill above is a face, forever looking up at the ceiling of the Untersee. No one inhabits its cheeks or the hollows of its eyes. So I'm going to start with the Assigner of Corpses. One of these masked strangers is the Assigner of Corpses, if the Gracious Widow is to be believed. But which? Interrogate the visitors. The visitors seem reluctant to discuss the matter, even with Frog. It is distasteful or forbidden or inconvenient, but surely someone will let something slip. The blankness of masks. A man in a crocodile mask trundles an ibis-masked corpse on a wheeled bier. Is this the Assigner of Corpses? He shakes his head. This corpse was assigned to the Fathom King, he explains. I go now to the hold. The Fathom King knows why. Was that a meaningful pause? If no one here will speak to you of the Assigner and his assignments, might the Fathom King know more? Okay, so Fathom King is next. Actually remembering to write down stuff now because I haven't done that for a bit. I keep just not thinking about writing shit down. So here we go. Check in at the customs house. One may not wander Visage at will. A changing room. All visitors must pass one by one through a room guarded by a person in the mask of a moon moth. Masks in an assortment of shapes and colors wait. We can ask to go about without any mask, ask the significance of the masks, choose the frog mask, choose the locust mask, choose the bat mask. Frog mask looks curious, locust mask looks voracious, and bat mask looks threatening. I think I'm gonna go with the bat mask. It looks threatening. Messenger with no message. Moon moth spreads and folds its wings. Are those part of the moth costume? It looks that way, but one cannot rule out the possibility that moth has real wings. My condolences, it says with polite formality, as it sets the bat mask on your face and ties the worn leather straps around the back of your head. The inside of the mask smells of musk. All right. I'm gonna see anything else. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. let's visit the Library of Parts. Oh, wait. No, I already read that. Okay. So called because all the books are fragmentary, perhaps. Stoop at the lintel, enter the dark. A room of heavy stone, guarded by a golden statuette of a woman with outstretched arms. The scroll niches sorted to correspond to a variety of masks, the jackal and the lioness, the crocodile and dung beetle. A woman in the mask of a lotus blossom is standing at a lectern, reading in silence. We can ask about the purpose of this room, steal what scrolls you may, and praise the literary traditions of Visage. I'm going to start by asking about the purpose of this room. What sorts of parts are they, anyway? Filed under M for masked. Moonmoth explains, people think it means something like Library of Fragments, but this is wrong. The parts in question are like parts in a play. Sorry, I had to shift around a little bit. The parts in question are like parts in a play. This is where the denizens of Visage come in order to learn how to perform their masks more accurately, more completely, with a truer spirit. I'm going to praise the literary traditions of Visage. The scrolls are so numerous, so neatly shelved, so elegantly illustrated. Infiltrator. Moonmoth considers you. Perhaps it thinks you are acting too much like a frog. Perhaps it thinks this is a bat gambit to gain favor. Misplaying your role would be bad, and correctly playing the bat would be worse. Either way, there are penalties. You end up scarred and maskless back at the dock. Damn. I'm in trouble. I kind of want to just do like, not double press E. Just do a little... I'll run down to the Isle of Cats and see if I can make that take long enough. Oh, no, I get a fight. Hello. I'm going to fight you, and that's definitely going to take enough time. Tears. Your cheeks are wet. You think for a moment that it's sweat, but then the sorrow hits you like a falling stalactite. You were weeping. You double over, inconsolable. I'm gonna control myself. Stifle your sobs. What is this? Why this sorrow? The ebb tide. You dig your nails into the palms of your hands, pacing the ship. The sorrow retreats like mist to the borders of your thought. You master yourself, but the taste of salt remains. You no longer have salt's attention. I have my own attention all the goddamn time. Mixed game. Okay. Investigate the wreckage. Rescue the pirate poet. 500 echo. And 3 supplies. Nice. Okay. Isle of Cats, where there are roses. Port Cavendish. A scatter of yellow-lit honey dens and brightly painted alehouses. To the southeast rises the stone tower of Cavendish Abbey, its ramparts hung with crimson and gold banners. There are sailors from all across the Neath hauling cargo, dicing, and brawling good-naturedly on the docks. The air carries the sound of these shanties, sung with more enthusiasm than skill, and the smell of roses edged with brimstone. Going to start by compiling a port report. You spend half a day observing the docks and note an astonishing number and variety of ships. Was that a Khanate trimaran nestled beside a vessel from the Iron Republic? The dockhands complain loudly that they have never been busier. The caddies talk ceaselessly and carelessly about smuggling and piracy, but even the most hardened sailors lower their voices when they mention the king. They go even quieter when they talk about the Rose Garden. You make careful notes. Perhaps the Admiralty will understand what they mean, even if you don't. I'm going to start with a piratical welcome. Welcome to the Isle of Cats, the wide-eyed dockmaster says brightly. Would you like to bribe me not to write your name down? Would you like to bribe me not to write down your details in this nice official ledger? Sure. You hand over the coins and she tips you a sharp smile before waving you to the nearest alehouse. The entire process is straightforwardly corrupt and pleasingly efficient. The Rose and Tiger. The alehouse's sign is a tiger painted the color of rose petals. Someone has gone to great trouble and expense to gild the creature's eyes. They look out over the port, feral and unseeing. A caged hive of lamplighter bees hangs from the ceiling like a chandelier. A few sailors give you hard-mouthed, assessing looks, but most ignore your presence entirely. So I know that this is a lot of reading. I'm not gonna lie, I want to get to Visage this episode. I want to go back to Visage. So I've done all of this reading already in my last playthrough, so I'm just gonna skip through this really quickly. I'm not gonna read everything. I know the decision I want to make. I just don't remember if I get anything. Okay. I know I want to go with this person. Of course, I know what it is. Okay. Comfort a Z captain. I don't have enough resources to do this. Interesting. Okay, let me check out Cavendish Abbey. Oh, I got 5 mushroom wine from that. Damn. I don't want to get rid of the limitable relics or the fuel. Well, I guess there isn't a whole lot to do here then. Okay, I don't... The Pirates King notice 5. I have 3. Okay. So I do actually want to... I will spend fuel on that. 4... 5. Okay. And go back to the honeyed tongue. Speak to the king's claw. Here we go. I'm going to accept their offer. Okay. Wonderful. Utterly delightful. Isuri is all smiles and genial bonhomie. Bonhome? I shall start thinking of a task fit for your talents. Something special. They wave a jeweled hand. Run along now. There's a good captain. So we have Isri's patronage. I'm going to accept a new commission. I guess I'll get a new something awaits you on the way back. You are hardly squeamish about smuggling red honey. If you change your mind, you could always turn the shipment over to the Admiralty instead. The scholar will give you some notes in return. Bring them to me, and I shall be most pleased. Isuri slides the casket over to you, and very pointedly does not enumerate the consequences of returning without the notes. Instead, they smile too wide, and you shiver. Okay. Cool. I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just going to head on out. I should write that down. Gonna set this to that while I the pen I use is dying. Come on. Certainly something must, there we go, must await me by now. Okay, hide your face. Hide all your faces. I am going to not be a bat this time. I'm going to be a frog. Moon Moth lifts the mask and places it over your head. The eye holes are large and they are fitted with spectacles. These improve your view of the environment, though you must look bull-eyed from the outside. There is also a mechanism attached to the mouthpiece which magnifies any sounds you make, even your breathing. You start to thank the Moon Moth and it comes out as a booming croak. May you profit from your visit and knowledge, says Moon Moth. Its wings fold neatly over its back. Alright, let's check out the Library of Parts again. So called because all the books are fragmentary. Perhaps? Gonna study the scrolls in a bumbling way. They look very old after all. Hearts guarded. Taking the nearest, you read it aloud. For guarding against the loss of the heart. Moon Moth takes it from you, rolls it tightly, and returns it to its niche. There are many ways of guarding against the loss of the heart, as there are different masks, it explains, in that same light and indifferent voice. So I do know now that frogs don't do that. Interesting. I'll write notes in the margins. If your frog glove will hold a pen, that is. Halt there. Moon Moth is startled. Apparently no other frog has gone so far as to attempt to deface the library's holdings. It gets the pen away from you, expostulating. Later, you find it writing down a record of what you just did, to be added to the Library of Parts, a recollection of what can be expected from frogs. We'll visit the Flood Court. The Moon Moth speaks as though you should already know what that is. High water. The Flood Court is a long stone room with 2 ranks of columns on each side. Currently, the court is ankle-deep in water, though water stains on the stone show that the flood has often reached higher, sometimes up to the height of your waist. In a raised niche at the far end of the room sits a statue of a man with the head of a ram. He holds a jar from which water flows out onto the floor. We will ask about the purpose of this room. It doesn't really look as though it's good for anything. Depth per day. From a corner, Moon Moth picks up a graduated stick. He shows you how a person standing at the end of the room may dip the stick into the water and use it to measure the water level at a pre-selected point, and how the measurements are compared with measurements written on a calendar. If the water level does not match the calendrical position, an assembly of pipes and drains is used to adjust it. It used to be, says the moth, that the water rose and fell of its own accord, and the people before wrote down what height it reached. Now the water is still, but thanks to their actions, we can replicate the rise and fall so as to still be pleasing to the god of flood. It completes this explanation with a half-body bow towards the statue of the ram deity. Show oafish enthusiasm for this wonderful indoor pool. Frogs like pools, right? Croak. You exclaim at how much you admire this room and its excellent pool. Your words are, as always, amplified into a croak. Other masks turn toward you. Crocodile, lotus blossom, crescent moon, but no one speaks. You have garnered a suitable degree of disdain. Moon Moth quietly applauds your performance of froghead. Okay, if I trade masks with the moon moth, I'm pretty sure that's how we get into Visage. So let's do that. It has been making subtle overtures for some time. You only now understand them. It is keen to go. It draws you aside into a closet in the customs house. Had enough of Visage, it tells you frankly. Here, you take my mask and pretend to be me, and I'll trade in the visitor mask and get on some departing ship. Get my life back. Its face, no, now you see her face, is aging but unlined. A lifetime of never needing to use a facial expression. Visit the house of the chief geometer. It is understood to be an honor. Lines in wet ground. Each morning, the man in the cobra mask draws lines in the mud flat with a pointed steel rod. This apportions to each inhabitant a small trapezoidal area from which to harvest mushrooms and scrape salt. No plot is ever preserved from one day to the next. This man is the chief geometer, the keeper of directions, master of land measures and sea measures. Now you have been invited to his home at the time customarily appointed for him to receive those who are not his equal in rank, yet not so far beneath him as to deserve to be ignored. What ceremonial gift will you bring? So I can bring a string of rats, a necklet, that does say necklet. Okay, bring a necklet of lapis beads, a poem concerning snakes copied on a new scroll, a comb made of bone, nothing or do not go. I kind of want to try do not go. It is necessary for him to offer, but incorrect for you to accept. Nothing lost, but nothing gained. You sit at home in a quake when he sends a message to reprove you for your non-attendance. Is this also part of the dance? I'm gonna check out, visit the side of the face. The stone cheek of Flourishing of Years is visited as a pilgrimage by the inhabitants of Visage, and if you are in good favor, you too may go. At the proper time. You must, of course, wait until your work with this day's crop of frogs and locusts is complete. It would not be suitable to bring them along. Okay. Up on the hillside, the buildings become scarcer and then vanish entirely, leaving you looking at the bottom of a great chin. So we can study ancient marks, which we have a very low chance of succeeding at, offer instruction to the frog that found its way up here. That's the sort of thing your moth would have done to you. Push a visiting bat off of the stone chin. The visitor is wearing all black and keeps reaching up to scratch under its bat mask. Deface the stone with new markings. This will get you kicked off the island in all likelihood, or silently observe the attitude of the visiting lion. It is paying obeisance to the face. Let's offer instruction to the frog that found its way up here. That's the sort of thing your moth would have done to you. Attended by some awkwardness, you tell the frog a partially true story about how this face was carved. It replies with questions, detailed, astute, scholarly questions about who the original people who inhabited the island, and whether the present citizens are their descendants, and if not, where the original inhabitants might have gone. It hasn't learned the role of stupid credulity at all. Caught off guard like this, you have a hard time answering its questions smoothly. You part with irritation on both sides. I'm going to visit the side of the face again. I cannot push a bat off the chin. I am going to silently observe the attitude of the visiting lion. It is paying obeisance to the face. Service and worship. You contemplate the lion for some time. There is an arithmetic sequence to the count of bows that it performs to each feature. The eyes, the nose, each lip. It is hard to know whether Lion is meant to be her worshipper or her lover. Perhaps the two functions are not very distinct. When at last the lion's bows are complete, it passes you with a slight snap of its masked jaws. It was rude of you to stand there watching. The moth watches visitors. It does not watch citizens. To do so has violated the structures of both of your roles. Okay, let's check out the Temple of Apis. All the denizens of Visage go there, sooner or later. The Wounded God. In the center of the temple is a black bull with a white diamond on its face. It is tied in place with heavy ropes, and it is wounded in the thigh. From this wound, it bleeds copiously without dying. The priests gather around the bull, capturing its blood in cups. So there's a bunch of things that I cannot do because I know my part too well. Interesting. I'm going to leave a respectful token of offering. Even wounded, it remains a god. Impeccable. The tokens are small and not very valuable, as suits your lower rank in the community. The priests arrange them on a table with other small items. As you go out, you pass by the more impressive gifts: drafting tools from the chief geometer, scales from Jackal, a heap of foreign coin brought home by Crocodile. And, okay. Enter the hollow of the ear. It is a place of still greater pageantry. This is a journey of several steps and may conclude your current visit. You don't say. I do intend to be a dick, so. A proud nose. It is a festival day. The great stone face has been illuminated from forehead to chin with blazing torches, so that the profile is visible from the side more clearly than you have ever seen it. Flourishing of years is awake, says the genderless figure in the crocodile mask. Festival of Flourishing. All the denizens of Visage are walking towards the ear together. There is a place in the procession which belongs by right to the wearer of your mask. Going to fall in line with the others, secretly bringing a flare with you. Perhaps you will need it in the darkness where you are going. Ritual disobedience. It is a risk to bring it, but it would be a risk to go without. You conceal the flare in the folds of your robe and fall into the procession. May your sins weigh a stone, says the man in the jackal face as you fall into line ahead of him. Inside the hollow of the ear. The road you follow leads up through switchbacks along the side of the face, and finally to the ear of Flourishing of Years, and into the cave that is her ear. The tunnel bends back on itself, and all lights have now been extinguished. There is nothing to guide you but the hand of the person behind you on your back, and the movement of the person in front of you. The one who walks beside you wears a bat mask. Fortunately, the floor of the tunnel is very smooth and presents no stumbling blocks. Sound carries strangely in this place, however. Sometimes you cannot hear your own footsteps, and sometimes a breath comes back to you audible from some place ahead in line. I'm going to continue. There is a secret in the dark. In line, the footsteps of the people are steady and synchronized, and you go together. For how many years has this been done, and for how many will it be done in the future? Watch your step here, says a bat mask to you in an under voice. Its accent is the accent of Wolfstack docks. Floor is about to get squishier. And sure enough, it does. Deep within. At last the tunnel opens out. You and all the other congregants spread out in a cavernous space. A voice speaks in the darkness, a ritual preparation. Here, at the new year, we gather under the one mask of Flourishing of Years. Her face is turned to the gods. Protected by her mask, we may remove our own. Protected by her script, we may speak outside our parts. Here and there is the sound of people fumbling with ties and strings. Your own face feels different with the mask off. I want to... I'm going to wait and listen. There are things here to learn, perhaps to your advantage. Not much for blackmail. You moved stealthily through the dark, hearing one knot of conversation and then another. The secrets exchanged do not offer much leverage. You can't see the owners of the secrets. Here and there, you catch the smallest fragment of something that might serve you on a future occasion. The memory of a voyage east, a half rumor about the Carnelian coast, a muttering about the Admiralty. Rituals end. The hour of confidence is drawing to its end. If there's anything else you need to do, now is the time. So we can either set off a flare, allowing you to see everyone, or shine a light on the bat-faced figure. Really, it's just him you want to understand. I want to set off a flare, allowing you to see everyone. You will see everything. This will certainly get you kicked off the island. Ouch. The light is so sudden, so searing that someone screams. All around you are all sorts of things. Some are human, but you see other faces. Rubbery, clay, some unrecognizably altered. The chief geometer, with his mask off, doesn't seem to be bothering to wear a face at all. Many faces are wet with tears. No one welcomes the blaze of light. Someone throws a cloak over the flare. A mistake, because, of course, it only begins to burn. After that, someone manages to douse both flare and cloak. Who in this crowd was carrying a bucket of water? But it is put out, and someone's hands are clamped firm around your wrist. And that is the last you see of Visage. You are taken blind back to the docks, your face covered in a black cloth that is no mask at all. I got a searing enigma. Interesting. Well, that is a Visage, and that is also the episode. Thank you for listening to this, the 56th episode of Salt Plays Sunless Sea. Goodbye.